Welcome back to another video. I'm happy. I'm very happy.
He's been waiting for this for such a long time.
It's been, you see that meme from Titanic? It's been 84 years since
Oh,
I've
I have seen that
waited
one.
for another gen from Apple when it comes to AirPods Pro.
Is that the one with the skeleton sitting in the chair?
No, that's SpongeBob. Titanic is an old lady.
Oh,
Yeah.
maybe I haven't seen that one.
Maybe you haven't seen
Yeah.
Titanic.
I
That's a
haven't seen
different
it, yeah.
story for a different day.
Yeah.
Point being, we have the AirPods Pro 3. I had Gen 1 from 2019. So it's been 6 years since I upgraded my AirPods Pro, and these were great. They had a good life.
I'm
But
surprised
now-
yours lasted for that long.
and I'm surprised as well. If anything, it's a testament of how good these were. But I needed something better. And now we have the third generation, which, long story short, I didn't want to get the second one. I waited too long, and now I had to wait for the third. Here we are. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, it's going to be a really interesting perspective because I had AirPods Gen 1.
Right.
They died out on me.
I remember that.
Yeah. So I've had Gen 1, 2 pairs of Gen 2, Lightning and USB Type-C, and now Gen 3.
Yeah.
So
You've kind of moved up the ladder.
the
step by
perspective of
step,
someone
yeah.
who's had every single one since the first gen, and then the perspective of jumping from Gen 1 to Gen 3, which his leap is going to be massive.
I've been on a high since I got these.
They're more exciting than the iPhone, huh?
Let's get to it.
Yeah. So I think we're going to get to stuff like how sound quality has mattered to the two of us.
Yes.
The biggest thing, though, is the overall redesign of AirPods Pro 3.
I think that was the biggest talking point for
Yeah,
sure.
because when you jump
Yeah.
from AirPods Pro 1 to Gen 2, you can't tell a difference.
Mhm.
They look exactly the same. But there's a noticeable difference between Pro 2 and Pro 3.
Right.
I would say, so let's start with this. How do you like how Pro 3 fits in the ear?
So personally, and I think this is what's so unique about headphones, is because my experience is not going to be your experience, and it won't be your experience either.
Yeah.
It took me a second. If I'm being completely honest with it, when it comes to the redesign and the new memory foam material infused ear tips that these AirPods
it's
have.
like a weird hybrid of memory foam and silicone tips. So like
Right.
the ear tips are much sturdier.
Yeah.
Even compared to Gen 2. Like the Gen 2 standard ear tips, they feel kind of flimsy.
Right.
Really easy to move around. and,
Especially when you compare them.
Yeah, really
I
easy to
remember
move
if
around
you don't
and
compare,
flex.
you're like, oh, these are great, but then you
Right.
compare to the new ones.
Yeah, the ones on the 3 feel a lot more, they're not uncomfortable, but they definitely feel a lot more like structured and rigid.
And I think that's what my immediate reaction was when I first tried them on. I put them in and I thought, these are way too much. They're way too tight. I need to change down in size, which I've never done in previous headphones. So I take that medium size tips that are by default there, and I switch to the smaller ones. It felt better, but I could tell that there was a gap in the sound and noise canceling wasn't going through, and I wasn't making a full seal inside of my ears, even though the app told me that I had a good seal with the AirPods on. So I switched back and I said, heck it, I'll give it a shot and just wear it for a couple of days and see how it goes. And over time, I did get used to it. And I think now, even just comparing the feeling of previous AirPods with the new ones, with the redesigned shape, the previous, we talked about this, the previous ones kind of sit on the back of your ear and you
Yes.
feel the ear tip inside of your ear, but it's not in. It's kind of just resting against the inside ear canal that you have.
Yeah.
Versus the threes, they go in. Like it's like there's a drill and whoop, it just
Yeah.
goes inside of your ear, and that's where you feel the most, which is why it feels so weird, but that is to accomplish a better seal and give you better sound quality at the end
Yeah,
of the day.
and my guess is because I also saw Apple do a lot of talk in terms of how these AirPods Pro are supposed to fit even more people than the previous generation.
And there's
right?
also a lot more options
As
for the
far
ear
as
tips.
yes, there are more ear tip sizes as well. So it goes all the way down to a double
XS.
extra small.
Extra small. Yeah.
So extra small, small,
Mm-hmm. Well,
Right.
extra small, extra small.
small,
medium,
medium, large.
Yeah.
So there's 5 different ear tip choices on the inside.
Yeah.
Medium is installed by default
Right.
on all of them. I actually bumped up to large
Yeah.
because I prefer like maximum seal
Yeah.
in the ear. But yeah, the overall shape, which we're going to do our best to show you on B-roll footage, but whenever you look at how they look, it's just, they're very different from like a shape philosophy.
I
Yeah.
agree.
So like AirPods Pro 2 and 1, they tilt much further into the case.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? And the AirPods Pro 3 sits much more parallel.
Yeah. Yeah. That, I mean, you can see the driver kind of curve out
Yeah,
of the ear pod.
it's very, very strange. So they
Yeah.
sit and look different inside of the case compared to two. And David's right. The even I think like the demonstration video, whenever it comes to how you put them in your ear, you're supposed to start off sideways and then kind of tilt them down
Yeah.
to put them in. And they go way further into your ear than AirPods Pro 2. That took me some time to get used to as well.
Hmm.
Because the AirPods Pro 2 were kind of like my go-to for the gym.
Right.
These are now my new go-to. But yeah, they sit way deeper in your ear canal and took me a little bit to get used to, but I feel like the seal is better, especially with the hybrid ear tips that they have.
Right, right. It might be a little bit of a learning curve or feeling curve, if you want to call it that. But outside of that redesign on the inside, the case also changed a little bit.
Yeah.
It is slightly bigger. Now,
Yep.
one of the things that threw me off is the fact that there is no physical buttons, no cutouts for lights. You have the speaker grills and you have your lanyard loop right there, but the button that was in the back for pairing and the light at the front, they seem invisible, but
Yep.
they're there.
Yeah.
So it is kind of cool just to see how they implemented the light to be under the surface of the plastic, but also the button made it a tactical sensor at the front of the AirPod case instead of the back. So now you just double tap to pair if you need to repair to a new device. And what do you think of the battery?
So it's you kind of get this weird paradox with the battery,
Right.
right? Because the buds are bigger with the redesign. So the individual batteries for the buds last longer, even if you use active noise cancellation.
Mhm.
8 hours compared to 6 on Pro 2. I don't even know what it was like on Pro 1.
Like 4.5.
Yeah, it was probably
Yeah.
really
It's a
terrible.
big jump.
But the case itself, which I don't know how the battery got smaller on the case, but it seems like it did because when you factor in total listening time with the case,
Hmm.
you get 24 hours of listening with ANC on.
Right.
Pro 2 had 30 hours of listening with ANC on.
Yeah. It is interesting. I wonder if it's because of the change of the AirPods and how they have to sit in the case
Yeah.
that they had to reduce a little bit of the battery inside of the case. But ultimately, you do have an upgrade when it comes to the AirPods. And at the end of the day, you probably won't run out of the charge on the AirPods before you run out of the
Oh,
charge in the
yeah.
case
Yeah.
before you recharge it.
Yeah.
So, and you have MagSafe, you have wireless charging, you have the Find My tracking, which was present on the second gens. So it is a pretty good upgrade when it comes to the physical side. Let's talk about the inside. Let's see what it sounds like. Now, of course, this is the reason you're watching this video. Is the sound good? Here's what's interesting about the AirPods Pro 3 because they have the same chip as the second generation. We're talking about the H2 chip. And on paper, they're not that different. Now, there is a graph going around online where people compare the sound signature of the second generation AirPods with the third generation AirPod Pros. And you do see a difference when it comes to how Apple configured the sound profile on these headphones. And it's true, these are more bassy and the highs are higher, while the mids got a little bit lowered on this new generation of AirPods. Personally, I don't think you can hear that much of a difference. I mean, we have all three generations on our hands, and we are able to test it side by side to see if they sound any different. Personally, I can't tell the difference, even though on paper there is a difference. And if anything, I'm coming from the first generation. They're so much better now. But even with you, we have the second generation and they almost sound exactly the same. Not a bad thing, but it's also not a huge upgrade, even though Apple claims that the calibration has gotten so much better. But I mean, it's just what it is. It was great already, and it's still great.
Yeah, I think the biggest differences I've noticed so far is if you keep volume the same,
Right,
right? You keep volume the same and you start playing different tracks. I'm comparing to second gen.
right,
I feel like AirPods Pro 3 was consistently louder
right.
at
That is
every
true.
range of the volume spectrum and then delivered a lot harder on the bass.
The bass was boosted, which some people like that, some people don't.
I
That
love
will
it.
that will come down to your personal preference
Yeah,
for sure.
I personally love it. And I do feel like from a noise cancellation perspective,
Mhm,
and again, they're using the same Apple H2 chip.
mhm.
So it's not like this is I don't believe this is hardware accelerated, right? In terms of it's just rocking raw hardware to do it.
Right.
There's no new chip.
The only difference would be the new seal that you have within your ear.
Yeah, there is an improved seal, at least for me,
Mhm.
right? And I've also noticed that the pressure stabilizing vents are
Mhm.
larger on
Yes, that
on the
is
Pro
true.
3 versus the Pro 2. That might potentially have a factor as well.
Right.
But yeah, Yeah, those are the big differences I've noticed in terms of sound quality. I can take these headphones to prime rush hour at the gym, 6 p.m., and they do a great job of drowning out almost
Oh, especially
everything.
with music on and
People
going.
everywhere,
Yeah,
especially if you have your music at like 80% or above, there could be people everywhere, like iron and machines clanking and like hitting and stuff
right.
like that. I don't hear anything.
Would you say that Apple's claim of the noise cancellation being 2 times better than the second gen is accurate?
I think 2 times is bold because
I agree.
the AirPods Pro second gen still work really well for me.
Right. It is slightly
I
better,
will say the noise
but
cancellation is better, but 2 times, I feel like if it really was 2 times, I wouldn't hear.
I mean, we tested it this earlier, but I was able to hear my fingers snap in front of me with certain kind of songs that are not
Yeah,
as crazy
songs
in
that
the
are not
bass.
as high
Yeah.
in volume, and then he had the volume on the phone at like 60%, so he
Right.
was able to hear certain things, but noise cancellation is improved. 2 times noise cancellation, I think, is a really bold claim,
I
but I
agree.
definitely do notice a difference even in super crowded environments.
One thing though that I think is a big, big jump on the hardware perspective is the microphones.
Yep.
Apple has improved the microphone quality crazy in a crazy amount.
Especially compared to first gen. Second gen had
Oh,
good mics.
the first gen, we don't talk about first gen microphones on the AirPods
Yeah.
Pro, but with these, you're able to record directly into your phone while you're wearing them and have in a voice isolation mode that kind of cuts out all the noise in the background when you're not speaking and even when you're speaking a little bit. But it sounds very good. And if anything, you're listening to them right now.
Yep.
We're recording the sound on this take right now with the AirPods Pro 3 and voice isolation through the Voice Notes app.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. The jump between generation 1 and generation 3 is absolutely massive.
Hmm.
It's like going from a drive-through speaker to a podcast mic,
Yeah.
and the jump from 2 to 3 is a little bit less, but the jump from 2 to 3 is still noticeable
Oh,
too.
it's still a big
These are
upgrade.
very, very good quality microphones
I
for
agree.
sure. Other cool features, there
Two
is
of
a
them I can think of.
there is a heart rate monitor.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
one.
Taking the feature from the, what are the Power Beats? The Power Beats
Yeah.
2.
Which I just found out recently that those had that.
We literally talked about it in our review.
I have Alzheimer's.
Right.
Anyway.
Right. Yeah, so there is a built-in heart rate monitor,
Yes.
which is really weird how Apple kind of pulls that data when you're working out. Let's say you have the watch and you have the AirPods in. Apple is going to pull, from my understanding, whichever sources deem more accurate with their own algorithms.
How does it decide which one's more
I don't
accurate?
know. That's
It
their own
just the
algorithms.
magic of the heart rate sensor.
Closed source software, none of your business,
It's
according
like,
to Apple.
are you dying right now? Maybe. Nah, it's not good enough. Let me switch to the Apple Watch. You better say no.
But obviously, if you work out with just the AirPods in,
It'll just use that.
yeah, and then you'll have access to your heart rate information that'll be pulling directly from the AirPods. So that is, I actually think that's pretty cool.
I think it's really cool. I
Yeah.
think when it comes to those like niche features, I think out of that or something else, I would have preferred a temperature sensor for the AirPods because I think you can do more when it comes to the tracking and the ability for the AirPods to tell you if it's catching you getting sick before you even
Oh,
realize
gotcha,
you're getting sick.
gotcha. I thought you meant from like a
Oh no,
climate.
not like
I thought you meant from
it's
like,
raining outside.
yeah.
No, duh,
Yeah,
it
I
is.
thought you
It's
meant from
no.
like a climate perspective. I was like, that's not helpful at
No.
all.
Anyway, I would have preferred that over AirPods. The reason I say that is most likely people are wearing a digital activity tracker already if they're using AirPods. Odds are they are. So I think it would have been better to do it in a different way, having a different sensor. But maybe that's going to be for the AirPods Pro 4 in 20 years when they get those out. But there is a second feature that came out with the AirPods, and that's the live translation,
Very
which
exciting.
is currently on beta. There's only what, 4 languages?
There's
5
like
languages?
5, and it's like the big ones. It's like English, US, UK. There's like Spanish from Spain,
right? German,
French, like the big
Portuguese as well.
Portuguese
I think.
as well, from Brazil though.
Brazil,
Yeah. So like the really big languages, and you do have to download those language packs to your iPhone in order to get started with live translation.
That's right.
You push and hold both AirPods at the same time whenever they're in your ear, and it just kicks off, and you can see the conversation interface in the live translate section of the Apple Translate app.
Yeah. I think it's not as intuitive as you think when it comes to just enabling it and it just shows up on your phone. But it is responsive. It does take a second for the translation to kick in, for one to listen, to translate, and then deliver that sound of the new translation into your ears.
Yep.
But it is in beta, so I wouldn't be surprised if it gets faster and better over time.
It should.
And just more languages being added on as well.
It
I
should,
think
yeah.
it's a cool feature. I think this one's valid. I don't know if I'll be using it, but for you who might travel a lot to foreign
Yes.
countries, this might come in handy.
Yes. It can be useful in the very niche circumstances.
It's one of those things that if for some reason you ever run into that scenario where you need it, you're going to be glad you have it.
Yeah,
But
and
you
I
might
think
not go out of your way
I
to
think
use it.
traveling abroad is a great use case scenario.
Right.
You go to a country where you don't speak the language, you go into a shop and you want to buy something.
And you go through the languages and you're like, dang, they don't have this one.
Right.
So
Then you got to travel to the other country.
yeah, the ones that are in the list.
Yeah,
Only.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. So if you find yourself in a country where they don't speak the language, leave that country and go to like France where they
And that's gonna be
where
in the
they
option
do speak
menu. Yeah.
French and it's in the actual
know.
or go to Germany.
Yeah.
Travel to Germany. You know what I mean?
There's stuff in Germany.
But let's say you go to Germany and you want to buy something.
Now you
As
can.
they speak German, it comes through your AirPods, and then you can just speak English back, and it directly translates right onto your phone in German, let's say.
Right, in that viewer mode.
And then you can buy
Candy. What do you buy in Germany?
A
That's not
hamburger.
here. A hamburger. A hamburger. Yes.
useful feature, no?
I think it's cool. I think it might be useful. I don't know. I honestly, I want to be in a scenario where I need it. I think it would be cool. I just don't know if I'll ever go down that route where I need to have a translator app. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. Yeah.
Update to come. Point is, these are great headphones. I am very happy that Apple finally released a third generation iteration of these
$249?
AirPods for $249. The price has not changed.
Same
It was
price.
a rumor the price was going to go up. Thankfully, it didn't, even though there's no cable in the
That would
box.
have been such an Apple move.
Story for a different day. But they're great.
Yep. I actually really like them too. Even coming from the second gen, I feel like it was a relatively solid upgrade for me. Just the slight boost in sound quality.
And I mean, even
And
if you
for me
have-
personally, the better fit.
I was gonna say, even if you had the second gen with Lightning, that's gonna be even more of a reason for you to upgrade, because that's, I think, if I'm not mistaken, outside of the Apple mouse, the last device that uses Lightning.
Yeah, because they already refreshed the keyboard, yeah?
They
With
might have done
USB-C.
the mouse as well.
Yeah.
I don't know. I hate the mouse.
I still actually have so I have second gen with USB-C and Lightning. Both of
Yeah.
them still work.
Yeah.
The Lightning I use like in my day job though, the 9 to 5. I
Oh,
use
you're
that
in
for
the
like
office.
Zoom calls, yeah. In the office, yeah.
Let us know what you think. Drop it in the comments. If you are thinking of getting the AirPods 3, tell us please what feature you're looking forward to the most, because we are curious to see if you see the cool features that we see, or you see something else as cool that we don't.
Yeah.
I'm curious.
What's next? We're gonna jump off the Apple train for a little bit.
We are switching to other stuff for the next video. Stay tuned. If you haven't subscribed, please do, because there's so much that we have to film and record and review. And I'm excited.
Especially if you're interested in products from the big Googs.
The Googles,
Yep.
it's
Yep.
coming.
Be sure to hit subscribe if you're new. Also, we are very, very close to 50,000.
That's a big accomplishment.
Yeah, so if you guys could help us with that, we're always eternally grateful, but we are so close to 50,000, so consider subscribing if you haven't.
Please
Thank you
and
so
thank
much
you.
for watching.
Till the
We'll
next
catch
one.
you in the next one. Wait, what do you want me to start with? Oh, heart rate monitor.
For the record, we don't rehearse. Our reactions are genuine.
Yep.
And if we ever mess up, sometimes we leave it, sometimes we don't.
In real time, live and in color.
Just like the live translation, that's not that great.